Good afternoon. My name is Maria Naimska, and I will held the turbo presentations. Turbo presentations, for everybody who knows us, it's obvious, but for some of you it will be the first time. So everybody has 90 seconds to present their project or institution just for the networking purposes. So it can be a project, it can be an institution, it can be an idea, it can be a research field. So I will start with the alphabetical order, and at the end we will have some presentations of the organizers. So first of all, I would like to ask Rose, sorry, this will be the recording, because one more thing, some of the presentations we have on the spot, and some of them we have the recordings of persons who couldn't be with us. So first will be Rose Ariel, Both Sides Face East, Volume 1, Durable Words. Video.
Dear guests, my name is Ariel Rose. I'm a poet and essayist, and I would like to present a book that I co-edited with my colleagues, Alisa Slaughter and Julia Suszycka, Both Sides Face East, Durable Words by Academic Studies Press. The volume is the fruit of a 3-year project based on translation, dialogue, and a capacious approach to anti-imperialism prompted by the war in Ukraine. The book is informed by Eastern Central Europe as a geographical region and also as a state of mind, as suggested by the poem Border by Adam Zagajewski. It includes poems, stories, essays, and translations by Ukrainian and international writers like Serhiy Zhadan, Masha Kolanovich, Marcy Shore, Zsuzsa Salem. I contributed with a text, Ukraine, a Polyphony, that is one chapter from my book about Ukrainian poets and the problem of language at the moment in Ukraine. The project is sponsored by Fondation Jan Michalski and the International Renaissance Foundation. This book and the project responds to the Helsinki Final Act. We should remember about this vulnerable bridge between Ukraine and the rest of Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. The second will be Leon van den Broek, Theological University of Utrecht.
In my field, religion, law and society, I came across about 20 years ago the guidelines pertaining the freedom of religion and belief of the Office of the Democratic Institute and Human Rights of the OSCE. I found a specific section on cemeteries, and I thought that's a fascinating topic, a niche, the right to the disposal of the body, both from a theological, religious, historical, and juridical perspective. It is about the right to commemorate and the right to grieve. However, that's problematic in times of war and disaster. However, everyone who has to face death in his, her family or among friends experience death as a personal disaster. My research is about peace, security, cooperation, for the living, and yes, for the dead, because death concerns all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Then Peter Jacek, Nations Memory Institute.
Hello to everyone. I would like to briefly introduce one of the projects of the Nations Memory Institute in Slovakia dealing with the human rights issues. Our institute is a public law institute dealing with the period of the years 1939-1989, marked by the two totalitarian regimes in Slovak history. And among the broad scope of our activities, one of them is to organize the annual conference focusing on the human rights. The tradition began in 2021 when the first conference was held in Bratislava, commemorating also the founder of the Nations Memory Institute and former dissident, Mr. Jan Langoš. And in the following years, we commemorate the establishment of the Charter 77, adoption of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, and, for example, the last year we commemorate 1989 and the fall of the Iron Curtain. Here you can see the events or the format of the event and also the partners which we are cooperating with. And we are really very glad that during the 4 years of this event, some leading researchers and respected personalities took part on these conferences. Let me mention former Slovak Prime Minister Iveta Radičová, Professor Mark Kramer, and also the members of the INRS Steering Committee, Professor Florin Abraham, Professor Reka Kiš, and also the first Deputy Director of the Institute of the Study of Totalitarian Regimes from Czech Republic, Mr. Kamil Nedvědický, also Mr. Aaron Mate took part, and we really appreciate it. Since 2023, we add to the conference also the award ceremony for the winners of the student competition, which we called Our Recent History. And in this competition, the students from all over Slovakia prepare essays and also the videos. And we, of course, cooperate on this event with our partners, especially the NGOs, mostly the Mission 89. Also with the embassies in the Slovakia, mostly the France and the Netherlands. But our key partners on these projects are a representation of the European Commission in Bratislava and also the Ombudsman's office in Slovakia. And of course, as I said already, each year we have a specific focus of these events. And I would like to invite you to Bratislava because this year, of course, we will be focusing on the Helsinki Final Act. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Now we have the video, and this Johann Grünbauer, Foundation History of Totalitarian Regimes and Their Victims.
Choosing who we honor in the public spaces, it gives us a moral compass. In Haarlem, a street is named after Rudolf Slansky in 1987. Rudolf Slansky has been the General Secretary of the Communist Party in Czechoslovakia from 1948 to 1951. He was responsible for the execution and liquidation of thousands of innocent people. One of them is politician Miladova Horáková. We believe that such a street should not be named to Rudolf Slansky Sr. Rudolf Slansky Jr. distanced himself from his father's politics. He got a member of the movement of Charter 77. The proclamation of Charter 77 was inspired by the Helsinki Final Act of 1975. We are actively campaigning to have the street renamed to Rudolf Slansky Jr. He died in 2006. The municipality of Haarlem informed us not to rename the street. This decision deeply disappointed us, and the sister of Rudolf Slansky Jr., Marta Slanska, saddens it deeply. We will not give up because history matters, names matters.
Thank you. Now I invite Katharina Hochmuth, Federal Foundation for the Study of the Communist Dictatorship in Germany.
Ladies and gentlemen, why should people today care about a regime that collapsed more than 3 decades ago? Why revisit a past that they never lived through? Because the lessons of dictatorship, of lost freedom and silent resistance don't expire. And because the stories of those who lived under communism in East Germany are still shaping our democratic present. I'm Katharina Hochmuth, Head of School Education Department at the Federal Foundation of the Communist Dictatorship in Germany. Our mission to ensure that the history of and consequences of the East German dictatorship remain visible, debated and relevant, especially for a younger generation. Established by the German Parliament in 1998, the Federal Foundation supports research, education and remembrance initiatives that uncover hidden stories, challenge myth and confront uncomfortable truth. Each year we fund hundreds of projects, exhibitions, books, school materials, films, oral history projects and digital platforms, many created in partnership with civil society, educators and institutions. We don't just look back, we ask how memory shapes the present, and we encourage critical and democratic awareness through history. 2 of our international programs reflect this approach. First, Memory Work. This is an exchange initiative that funds fellowships for museums professionals, archivists, educators from Germany and abroad to collaborate, to learn from another, and to build a long-term partnership in the field of remembrance. Second, our annual international conference in Czechova, Poland, which brings together researchers, experts and educators to explore the challenges of memory and the threats of democratic values today. With coming to terms with the dictatorship, we preserve the memory of those who suffered under communist rule and give space to the voices of those who resisted injustice. The Federal Foundation fosters transnational dialogue, supports historical truth, and encourages an active culture of remembrance. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have the recording of Maria Fernanda García Ibarren, Museum of Memory and Human Rights.
Soy María Fernanda García Iribarren, directora del Museo de la Memoria y los Derechos Humanos. Y estamos aquí, en este museo, un lugar que fue creado por el Estado de Chile y es uno de los actos de reparación para las víctimas de los derechos humanos durante la dictadura cívico-militar. También es un acto de reparación para un país que fue quebrado en ese minuto en que se instauró la dictadura el año 1973. Este año se conmemoran 50 años desde el golpe cívico-militar, donde se instaló por 17 años una cruel dictadura. Por eso es tan importante este Museo de la Memoria y los Derechos Humanos, donde se pone de manifiesto el valor de la democracia, de la reflexión, de la memoria, del nunca más, de la historia, para no repetir el pasado y poder construir en paz nuestro futuro.
Thank you. And now we have another recording, Piet de Klerk, the Netherlands Helsinki Committee.
Hi, I'm Piet de Klerk, and until recently I was the chair of the supervisory board of the Netherlands Helsinki Committee. The NHC stands in the proud tradition of civil society holding states to account for implementing the Helsinki Final Act. From the modest beginning in 1987, we evolved into a key player in the European network of civil society organizations. We run 3 distinct programs: rights-based justice, which mainly looks at prison conditions and rehabilitation; human rights defense, which supports human rights defenders and advocates for more human rights awareness; and integrity and accountability, which includes our flagship project for the last decade or so, the rule of law training for representatives of states which might become EU member states at some point. In all the pillars of our work, we support our Ukrainian counterparts. We never had structural state support, but we receive financial support for specific projects from The Hague, Brussels, and other donors. Given conditions attached to our finances, most of our work takes place outside of the European Union, but we also look critically at EU states and at the Netherlands in particular. Thank you.
Now another recording, Vesna Kostic, Jovan Ducic and Mladost elementary school teachers.
Шкуп при Другом Советском Раде.
Now on site, I invite Stefan Kube, Religion and Society in East and West.
Yeah, hello to everyone. I'm Stefan Kube, Editor-in-Chief of the journal Religion and Society in East and West. And I would like to present a special issue which we published 2 months ago together with Katharina Kunter, you already know her, about the 5th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act. Shortly, a few words about our journal in general. You can read it. It's a German journal, and we are covering a current issue from Central Asia, also Central, Eastern, and Southeastern Europe. And this journal you can find free copies downstairs at the reception desk. Unfortunately, it's only in German, so you at least have to read it in German. And the content, it's similar topics as we discussed the whole day and yesterday. It includes contributions on topics such as the foundation and acting of the Ukrainian and Lithuanian Helsinki group, religious actors and the Helsinki process, also about the People's Republic of Poland and the unintended consequences of the CSCE process. And this issue also addresses current issues and asks about the role of the OSCE in light of Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. So I invited you to read more. And if you want more, about our journal and even subscribe it, please visit our website. You find it here. We also wrote about the foreign policy of the Vatican, the topic we mentioned earlier today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Now the recording, Wojciech Kucharski, the Depot History Center. let's go further, we will come back. Dovile laurea tiene? The Museum of Occupations and Freedom Fights and the Memorial Complex of Tuscaloosa Peace Park recording.
Our task is to nurture and convey a complex memory. Therefore, the Museum of Genocide Victims, which is now called the Museum of Occupations and Freedom Fights, was established in the former KGB building in the autumn of 1992. The purpose of the museum is to immortalize the participants in the freedom fights and struggles, as well as the victims of the Soviet genocide. In the 20th century, Lithuania, like other Central and Eastern European countries, went through a series of painful upheavals. Lithuania was occupied by the Soviets in June 1940. A year later, it was occupied by Nazi Germany, and then the second Soviet occupation began in the summer of 1944. The brutality of one occupant was replaced by a brutal and even longer oppression from the other. In Soviet security offices, ruthless decisions were made to kill, imprison, and exile those who did not accept the new order. The inhabitants of Lithuania did not agree to obey the will of the occupants. Men and women went out into the forest to fight, to defend our freedom and values. There was a well-organized partisan war from 1944 to 1953. Individual partisans continued their armed resistance until 1965. In the unequal struggle, they were left on their own. They were killed and their bodies were publicly desecrated, and the ones who were arrested were brutally tortured and tried as enemies of the people and traitors of the motherland. Those who supported them were sent to labor camps, and their parents, siblings, spouses, and children were mercilessly deported to Siberia and other remote parts of the Soviet Union, where they died of hunger, cold, and disease, or were forced into slave labor. It required an extraordinary effort of will for them to survive, return, and continue what they had started, the fight against the occupant. All forms of resistance were suitable as long as they demonstrated that people had not come to terms with or recognized the occupation. And they won. The Sayudis rallies, the Baltic Way, the events of March 11th, 1990 and January 13th, 1991. This was the victory of a nation that stood up for itself. Today, we are free. But again and again, we must evoke the memory of this traumatic experience so that we never forget the price we had to pay for freedom. The exhibition, Secrets of Tusculanae Manor, at the Tusculanae Memorial reveals how the repressive apparatus, military tribunals, and the Special Council of the NKVD dealt with people sentenced to death between 1944 and 1947. The exposition, Project Homo Sovieticus, shows the efforts and means that were used by the Soviet totalitarian regime to create a new social, cultural, and political environment. It is meant to convey the life of a person who lived and worked in the Soviet Union and Soviet Lithuania. Through objects, texts, fragments of memories, and other items reflecting that world, the aim is to show the spirit of that time and the peculiarities of the Soviet era. The Chapel Columbarium in Tusculanae Peace Park is a place to remember and honor the victims, a space for peace and focus. This is where the remains lie of people who were secretly buried at Tusculanae Manor in the years 1944 to 1947. Over 700 people are buried there in the crypt with identical coffins. They were people who were dangerous to the Soviet regime, whose willpower did not break, who fought for freedom. By listening to the stories of Lithuanian partisans, former political prisoners, exiles, and other resistance fighters, we have come to understand that their chosen path of struggle for the independence of the homeland involved making great sacrifices for the sake of their convictions and required an unwavering faith that the day of independence would nevertheless come. They are a source of inspiration and obligation to us all.
Now I would invite Joanna Matera, New Community Foundation.
Hello, it's Turbo presentation, so I'm going to be fast, but I hope you will follow. Today I would like to present you the work of the New Community Foundation, NGO based in Warsaw, dedicated to reducing polarization and fostering stronger, more connected communities. Our aim is to combat polarization, which is the social problem, as the differences in opinions are normal in healthy democracies. We talk about polarization when the state of divisions is so deep that it erodes social trust, blocks decision-making, and destroys the sense of community. And what is important that we have two different types of polarization. Ideological one, which refer to the extreme divisions in terms of political views, and the other one, affective polarization, is much more dangerous because it describes the state when people start hating each other because of the political differences they have. And research show that actually it's very difficult or even impossible to change someone's ideology. But what we can do, we can try, or yes, we can try to work towards that people start treating each other in another way, with more respect. And to show you some of the examples of our formats, we organized to show people how to talk across the political aisle. So, for example, we organize small group dialogues. Those are facilitated discussions for around 12 people. We invite people with different political views from different backgrounds, and they discuss they discuss problems which are present in public debate and are controversial, such as immigration, abortion, or religion. We have also good conversation workshops. Those are trainings focused on practicing specific skills which can help us to lead better conversations, such as active listening, finding doubts into your opinions, or asking questions. And one more project we had, one-on-one conversations. It was actually, we did it with cooperation with German foundation, now I forget the name, sorry, My Country Talk. Basically what we did was we matched more than 1,000 people with different political views. So actually kind of like reverse Tinder, if you know the application. So people could get the email to the person with different political views, and they could meet online to discuss the political topics. So I just named a few of the formats we have. And to conclude, we believe that when people talk to each other, but really talk, then the communities can grow stronger. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I invite Kamil Nedvědicki, Institute for the Study of Totalitarian Regimes, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kamil Nedvědicki. I'm the first deputy in Institute for Study of Totalitarian Regimes. In this short presentation, I would like you briefly show 3 examples how our Institution for Study of Totalitarian Regime of the Czech Republic currently implementing the Helsinki principles in the contemporary world. The first example is how to help Ukraine. You know that the Russian aggressors in Ukraine destroy not only human lives, building and so on, but they destroy also the historical memory. It means they destroyed or take away materials from Ukrainian archives. So our institution is helping to our Ukrainian friends and we are saving materials from Ukrainian archives, digitalized it in the Czech Republic. And the second thing is that we are in primary researching can create from these materials, from these archives, new excellent books. One is the example there about the Jewish people from the Czechoslovakia in Soviet gulags. I think it's necessary to help our Ukrainian friends also in this way because it's necessary to save their historical memory. The second... okay. The second example is our support to people who are in opposition in Belarus, because as we know, the Belarusian opposition is in a contemporary situation, in very bad situation, because the Helsinki principles aren't in dictatorship of Belarus. It's necessary to fighting against the dictatorship in Belarus every day. It isn't only about discussion, it's their everyday life and fighting against the dictatorship in Belarus. So we are helping our Belarus friends not only during the conferences when we were discussing about the situation in Belarus, but we are also published and support books about especially young people in Belarus who are under the repression of the Belarus regime. And I think it's necessary to tell to the world about the situation in Belarus, because we are discussing about so many countries in the world, and the situation in Belarus is very bad in connecting with the human rights and connecting with legal state and other Helsinki principles. And the third slide is about our cooperation with Chinese Republic of Taiwan, because Chinese Republic of Taiwan is a democratic country. I think a very interesting country, but the past of Taiwan was also non-democratic. So we are cooperating with our colleagues from Taiwan how to research about undemocratic past, and also how to educate new generations. What is it totalitarianism? What is it undemocratic state? And what does it mean? Democratic principles of human rights, of democracy, freedom, and rule of law. And the last sentence of my turbo presentation is that these three cases can show us that the Helsinki principles aren't only the question of the past and aren't only question of our normal situation in European Union. Because so many countries in the world are undemocratic, people are living in totalitarian regimes, and it is necessary not only to talk about the Helsinki principles, but also to do something against the totalitarian regimes and something for the democratic principles. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. And now we have the recording, Chingpan, Department of Human Rights and Transnational Justice.
午安，我是台湾行政院政务委员李明新，很荣幸有机会与欧洲的朋友们分享台湾人权及转型正义的推动经验。台湾在第二次世界大战结束后，曾经历经长达47年的威权统治，因此我们透过一系列的行动，努力巩固民主与人权的根基，让独裁与压迫不再重演。在人权方面，我们致力推动联合国核心人权公约国内法化，督导各机关推动人权保障相关工作。在转型正义方面，我们也做了许多的努力，特别是进行平复司法不法与行政不法，以及被害者权利恢复等重要任务。尽管台湾与欧洲相距遥远， 但我们拥有相似的历史经验，并同样面对周边集权政权的威胁。台湾将与民主伙伴并肩前行，透过铭记历史，强化法治与国际连结，守护得来不易的民主自由。让我们携手共进，持续深化彼此的交流与合作，共同维护人权与正义的普世价值。最后，祝福活动圆满成功，谢谢大家。
Thank you. And now I would like to invite Robert Parter, German-Polish House.
Yeah. Oops. Thanks a lot. I would like to introduce the German-Polish House, which will be Berlin's forthcoming center dedicated to remembrance, dialogue, and education. This landmark initiative, dubbed by German politicians as, sorry, I quote, the most significant German-Polish commemorative project in German historical policy, will honor the victims of the Nazi occupation of Poland from 1939 to 1945, while illuminating centuries of shared history both before and after the war. The concept is basically built around three interlocking pillars: commemorate, encounter, and understand. Commemorate means that we will feature a contemporary memorial in Berlin's public space on a central site. Encounter means that we will host lectures, conferences, and cultural events directed at the German and Polish, and of course at an international audience. Understand means that we will have a permanent exhibition and also temporary exhibitions detailing the occupation of Poland, Polish victims, German perpetrators, but also including always the broader arc of German-Polish interdependence from centuries ago to present day. Showing often contradictory and controversially debated interwoven stories is our goal. We are not here to recreate national narratives. Such a story, for example, could be the contact between dissidents from East Germany and from Poland. And one could highlight Ludwig Mehlhorn, an East German dissident who learned Polish and built bridges, forums, and exhibitions in Poland and Germany. Since March 2023, a unit at the Foundation Memorial for the Murdered Jews of Europe, working with the German Polish Institute and a 70-member expert forum, produced an implementation proposal, Realisierungsvorschlag, which can be found on our website, and this is this one. If you would like one, you can have it from me. I brought some with me in German and Polish, but it's also available on our website. This proposal has been approved by the former German government in 2024, and we hope that also the German Parliament, we hope that this year the German Parliament, the Bundestag, will debate and approve it. So in conclusion, the German-Polish House, I think, promises to be a powerful testament to a shared history. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I would like to invite Ann-Kathrin Reichert, the Robert Hoffman Society in Berlin.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Ann-Kathrin Reichert and I'm a research assistant at the Robert Havemann Society in Berlin. The Robert Havemann Society preserves and collects the testimonies of the independent, peace, environmental and human rights groups in the DDR, as well as personal documents and records of people from the opposition and resistance in its archive of the DDR opposition. As we know, in particular, the development of human rights groups in the GDR is closely linked to the Helsinki process. Based on its archive, the Robert Havemann Society organizes public events, conducts political education work, offers academic advice, publishes its own publications, and works together with public and civil society organizations and NGOs. Currently, for instance, with Belarus Exile organization in Berlin and the State Archive of Kherson in Ukraine. In future, we would like to intensify our cooperation with similar organizations and scientific institutes at an international level, particularly in the countries of Central and Eastern Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I would like to invite Bernard Stahl, University of Passau.
Yeah, hello everybody. I start with the notion that the final Helsinki Act was really incredibly important for human rights and for the flourishing and development of human rights all over Europe and the world. And we jump here in today's time and make a kind of dialectical argument saying, well, we see that, increasingly see that mass atrocity crimes are silenced by the international community. Mass atrocity crimes are war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, ethnic cleansing, and they're more and more silenced by important actors, such as United Kingdom, Germany, and other governments. This is, in a way, surprising, considering that mass atrocity crimes are banned by international law and oftentimes national self-binding commitments. But what we share the quote here of Karen E. Smith that genocide and mass atrocity crimes can be increasingly observed on a global scale. Why? We have some ideas why this is the case. Colonial crimes especially are not mentioned in national discourses. Many politicians deny it. But we have also for current crimes, when we think of Gaza, of Ukraine, of Sudan, of South Sudan, of Congo, of Myanmar, of the Uyghurs in China, we normalize it, we trivialize it, saying that there is only, it's about a civil war. We frame it differently, talking about hunger and refugees, or we simply blame other actors, United Nations or regional organizations for not doing anything. Our future concern will be, of course, the breaking of silence and what all of this means for the international community. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. And now Gert Weiskirchen.
I only would like to wish that you are the ones to take your responsibility in the end to change the page of history. 3 steps are necessary to do so. Inspire, invent, and then another I, to bring about identification for others. And that is why I do think that this conference could be one of the next starting points to deliver a different future better than the present. And I remember very well only one name, Mintjan Faber. He has been the one to pick up the idea of Protestant church, religion, and brought it to the society level. And he was one of these guys. I'm feeling that I do in his record the same that he presented in the 80s, in the beginning of the 80s, such as other ladies, for instance, from the LSE in London. She and Mintjan, we and all the others, we were the ones to make a starting point in order to change history. And these three I's, inspiration, imagination, inspiration, and invention, we should put together in order to bring about peace, freedom, democracy, and then, hopefully, we do see an other Russia. And, for instance, Irina Shcherbakova is the one to present this other Russia, and we should do all we can in order to bring about this new other Russia. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite Joanna Orłoś from European Network Remembrance and Solidarity. Good afternoon. We decided to use this opportunity to tell you about few projects from our educational projects portfolio. And I will share this presentation with my colleague Urszula Bijoś, who will take the floor. The first project I would like to briefly introduce to you, which is called Sound in the Silence, I think it portrays the three I that you have mentioned: imagination, inspiration, and innovation. I think those three words are very much embedded in this project. It's a project for students of high schools who come to the memory site with their teachers. Each group consists of 7 participants. They find out about the history of the memory place, then with the educational team from this site. Then they take part in artistic workshops, and at the end, as the final point, they present a final performance to a public that we invite. This project is gaining more and more popularity among our audience. I think it's because it's innovative and inspirational. We have so far done more than 10 editions in various places in Europe. This year we will host students from Spain, Cyprus, Romania and Poland for more than 7 days in Pruszków near Warsaw, which used to be a transit camps for the citizens of Warsaw after the Warsaw uprising. Here you have just few pictures to give you a better picture of what it looks like. Some pictures from the year 23, from the previous year in Pitești in Romania as well. And very briefly, the next project, which will be the first one that we organized this year, also quite connected with the subject of this year's symposium is the project for older students from universities. We have gathered more than almost 300 applications from around Europe. They will be divided into two groups. One group will spend few days in the archives in Bremen. The second one will spend the same amount of time in Prague, in Václav Havel Library and Libri Prohibiti Library, and they will study the archives and the uncensored publications, literature in those places. And later, as the last final moment, they will spend few days in Maison Lafitte near Paris, where there was a center, very important center for Poland during the Cold War before 1989. It will be connected with some creative work, as we always try for this inspirational reason to combine educational aims with artistic creative aims. This time they will be in this project creating a zine. If you don't know what it is, it's an independent publication that will hopefully convey everything that they will have learned during this project. Ursula, the floor is yours with other INRS educational activities. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So I'll start when Joanna ended. So she spoke about the different mediums, about different approaches and like artistic methods to convey, to talk about history. So I'll add more. There is also voice, and in this project, which is called In Between, a group of students from different countries, they meet in the borderland region, where they have also different workshops. They talk with people, with community members, with pastors, with politicians, with just people at the street, and they're aiming to produce a podcast. They work with their mentor, who's an expert journalist. So this project, it combines oral history when they conducting the interviews, but also journalism. So it won't be a surprise that last year we've been here in Helsinki. So in one of the editions of the projects, the students, they were recording a podcast, which is available on our Spotify channel. And it was about this connection between Tallinn and Helsinki, and it was really inspiring for the students to discover how for people who had this opportunity to cross the sea during the Cold War, it was a very vivid memory which stayed in their mind after all those years. So this year we'll be on the Polish-German borderland in Gorlice-Gorzelec. Yeah, and like the podcast will be ready in September. So another project is for a little bit different target group, but the localization is the same. It's a summer school for teachers and educators who are just in the heart of the educational system. Here they also research borderlands, but they do it through photography. So they are aiming, each participant after a couple of weeks, this study visit to the borderland is aimed to to make one photo which depicts the borderland landscape. And then we are aiming to produce the postcards out of those photos, and then on the other side of the postcard there will be questions for students. So we believe that it might be a tool for teachers to use it with their students in the classroom. And last but not least, there's a High Story Lessons online platform, which exists in 6 languages, and it's for each teacher, educator. So if you're not taking part in none of those previously mentioned projects, you can always visit High Story Lessons website. If you would just tap on resources for teachers, they all will be displayed. And so what we covered lately, it was the 8th of May. So we produced a teaching set, which is called 8 Years After. And it is about World War II in times of disinformation. So we wrote about distortions, we wrote about the memory conflict, also the use of the World War II in Russia's aggression against Ukraine, also the differences in commemoration 8th, 9th of May in East and West Germany. So it might be, there was like a lot of projects from Germany too, that also might be interesting for you. So you're invited to visit the website, and also I'll give the floor to my colleague Magda. I noted in the notebook from the contest she'll speak about.
I will speak about a contest, Grandparents' Grand Stories. Can I ask for the presentation, please? The contest sort of complements our educational projects, and we organize it for the first time as a part of our campaign celebrating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. The contest was aimed at mostly school pupils, university students, teachers, and educators, but the contest turned out to be very popular, and we received many entries from adults as well, and we decided to hold the contest open for everybody, since the main idea was to explore personal and local dimensions of wartime history through first-hand accounts of witnesses. And this could be achieved through dialogue to cross-cultural, cross-generational conversations. We promoted the contest through a very moving short video featuring one of Polish famous actors. So the video was really short, but it went viral, and it helped us to promote the contest. Entrants could submit their work in one of 4 categories: written work, photography, audiovisual materials, and a lesson scenario. So teachers were also an important part of the target group. Over 100 entries were submitted, and the participants turned out to be aged between 6 and I think the oldest one was 70. So we were happy to receive many intergenerational interactions. All works submitted in the contest are now available at our website, ENRS.eu, and lesson scenarios are available at the platform Urszula mentioned, High Story Lessons. And we were happy to see that schools got really interested in this format, and one of the schools managed to organize their own contest on based on a very similar model. And this was also something we were hoping to get, not only to get people talk to each other within their families, but also spread the word in schools, get teachers inspired. That's why we have decided to continue this contest, and we plan future annual editions, touching on different themes each year. Thank you.
Thank you, and now we come to Kati Kataisto from Historians Without Borders.
Could I have the slides, please? I have a great pleasure to introduce the project History in Exile. I'm historian at the University of Helsinki and board member of Historians Without Borders. And Historians Without Borders launched this project last autumn. And the purpose of this project is to promote dialogue between historians and history teachers in the Nordic and Baltic countries, as well as the public on Russian memory and history politics. So the project really offers a platform to express counter-narratives to Putin's Russia. So during this period, it is a very important platform and a way to offer counter-narratives to current Russia, to the what was called previously Other Russia. So the project also highlights the experiences of historians and history teachers of Russian background on the challenges of researching and teaching history in Russia. And it is funded by the Nordic Council of Ministers. And the project organizes seminars and meetings. There has been already 3 different seminars in 3 different locations in Helsinki, Stockholm, and in Tallinn. And there will be also publications. And I have a pleasure to announce that the project just received a second round of finance from the Nordic Council of Ministers, so the future of the project looks bright. And the project partners are the Swedish Historical Society and Estonian History and Civics Teachers Association. Other cooperation partners are Aleksanteri Institute of the University of Helsinki and Department of History and Institute of Contemporary History at the Södertörn University in Sweden, and also Euroclio, European Association of History Educators. And the next seminar will be held in Potsdam, Germany, in cooperation with the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy. So you are all warmly welcome over there to participate in this streamed seminar. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have one person, but 2 projects, and it's Daniel Pospelov with one project that is Civil Tech Lab and the other Russian Independent.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm representing Civic Tech Lab. It is an organization that provides civil society with technical solutions, strengthening resilience against dictatorships, primarily Russian dictatorship. My colleagues and I were all from Russia, but due to specifics of our work and personal and professional risks, none of us resides in Russia anymore. So I wanted just to once again kindly thank Maria for kindly letting me present 2 projects instead of just one. So the first one is called Kronika Catalog. Unfortunately, it is not publicly released yet, so I cannot just invite you to visit a website. So I'll just tell a bit about it. So it is a database built on written evidence, a database of persons who are involved in human rights violations and usurpation of power in Russia. I know that it sounds extremely broad, so let me just clarify it a bit for you. Let's take, I don't know, one random example, some political criminal case in today's Russia. For example, someone is charged with so-called fake news or discrediting of Russian armed force. So this is a grave human rights violation. I mean, such a criminal case against freedom of speech and whatever. And who is guilty of this violation? It is not just Putin who is orchestrating the whole system. It is not just the judge who sentenced our defendant, but it is actually a pretty long pipeline. It starts from the deputies of State Duma, Russian members of parliament, who drafted the law and promoted it. Then it is everyone who voted for it. Then it is everyone from regional parliaments who reviewed the draft law and said, like, this is a good one, we want to have it. Then it's, of course, Putin who signs it. Then investigator who launched the case. Then the state prosecutor participated on trial, and the judge, then the judge of the Court of Appeal, and so on and so on. So we want all of them to be in our database, and not just names and information, but also written evidence, documents, because we are doing it not just to preserve information for future generations, which is, of course, really important, but we also want our work to be a bit more pragmatic. So when at some point Russian regime falls, fingers crossed, and we have this other new Russia already mentioned on this stage, we want our database to be used as a tool for transitional justice, also was mentioned in one recording we had from my colleague from Taiwan. So it is crucial for us that for every alleged human rights violation, for every episode of usurpation of power in Russia, we have a written evidence. Someone voted for this law, we have a protocol of voting from the parliament. A judge sentenced someone to 10 years in prison, we have a sentence, a document, a verdict signed by this judge, and so on. Just a couple of words of how we work. Of course, we deal with a huge amount of data, and it is not real to process all of it manually. So we use some IT solutions. We use parsers to retrieve documents from the official websites of Russian courts and from the website of State Duma. So it is basically it is a program that goes to a website, finds information, and transfers it to our database. Then we use artificial intelligence to analyze the documents and to pull necessary data and, for example, the names, the dates, the positions of people involved, and putting them in designated spots in our database. And then we have our beautiful volunteers who manually verify the work done by the large language model, because it is really important for us that everything is double-checked. We want it to be like a real evidence that can be used in a court. So that's it. And another project. Is it here? Okay. Oh, nice. So The other project is called Russian Independent Media Archive, or RIMA for short. It is public, you can already use it, and I encourage you to use it. It is what it is called, an archive of Russian independent medias. Some numbers, right now it is over 130 media outlets, and we are aiming at 200 by the end of this year. More than 7 million documents. Each article from one media counts as one document. All of them are machine translated into English for easier use by everyone. And we don't have just online medias, we also have printed medias, and not just as scans. They're all recognized, optically recognized and structured. You can read them article by article. You can perform a text search within these print medias. Some of them don't exist anymore. Some of them are just, I don't know, some regional medias from, I don't know, existed from 2005 to 2008, for example. And we also have videos, we also have podcasts. Wrong button, sorry. Yes, why we're doing this? Because you all know that the situation with media in Russia is pretty complicated right now, especially since the beginning of full-scale aggression against Ukraine. And many media faced bans and censorship, and some of them just ceased to exist. And this is just one example. Originally it's in Russian, but translated for you. Znak.com, it existed, I don't know, for a decade maybe, and then they just cannot, they don't have enough resources to fight the system anymore, and then they just shut their website down, and years of work are just gone because it is not a printed media. And another example, there is much turbulence in terms of financing and funding for independent media right now. And for example, if some media who has funding from Western partners doesn't have enough money just to pay for web hosting, the same situation, it is gone. So we're preserving all of it. And we also want our archive not just to be, in a way, passive archive where you come, Google for something, and you receive a result. Right now, it works like this. Here is just one example, totally random search query. Not this readable, sorry. Okay. So right now, it works basically like Google, except of that, if you search for something Russia-related, especially relevant to current agenda in Google, you receive a mix of reliable sources and Russian state media propaganda, but not in our archive. Right now, my colleagues from our IT department working on an AI chatbot like ChatGPT, Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, and others, but a chatbot that is using our archive as a main source of information. And here is a sneak peek what it can look like. It is just a technical screenshot. We will design it way better, I hope. So another way to retrieve some reliable information that can be used by journalists, by researchers, and by anyone who is interested in the current history of Russia. Oops. And so I encourage you to use our archive. If you want to make some deeper research using our archive, please feel free to contact us, and we can make some tailored research for you to help you. And this format of turbo presentations doesn't imply any real interaction with the audience, but if you have any comments or feedback or questions or whatever, please find me afterwards. Don't hesitate to approach me. I will be grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to come back to the recording that was with some difficulties. Wojciech Kucharski, the Depot History Center.
My name is Wojciech Kucharski. I represent Remembrance and Future Center from Wrocław. It is a cultural institution run by City of Wrocław and Polish Ministry of Culture. Our main goal is to present post-war history of Wrocław, the city that belonged to Germany before Second World War and became a Polish city after the war as a result of the decision made by great powers. We believe that this story can inspire to bridge building in contemporary Europe. A key element of this history is Polish-German reconciliation process. In 1965, Polish bishops wrote a letter to the German bishops in which they proposed a model Polish-German reconciliation, model based on three values: truth, dialogue, and forgiveness. Most famous sentence in this document was, "We forgive you and ask forgiveness. Wir gewähren Vergebung und bitten Vergebung." This sentence was delivered by representatives of people which were victims of Second World War to representatives of people who caused the war. The author of this document was Archbishop of Wrocław, Bolesław Kominek. We believe that this act is an important part of European and world heritage. If you are interested in this history, go to www.reconciliation.eu. We are also welcome you to contact us.
And last but not least, please, there was the last call question request to just take part in the representation, so I give you the floor.
Well, luckily there's no slides. I will tell you about the computational history group from the University of Helsinki within the Department of Digital Humanities. So basically we use natural language processing, large language models, computer vision, AI in general, to study intellectual history, basically the history of ideas. So when you think, where do all these ideas come from? Human dignity, rights, separation of powers, democracy, parliamentary debates, and free press, free speech, etc. A lot of historians think they happened in the 18th century, so 1700s to 1800s. The English call them, the British call them Enlightenment, French call them Lumière, the German call them Aufklärung. So one example was that Immanuel Kant said he read David Hume and it brought him out of this dogmatischen Schlummer and directed his philosophy to a totally different direction. What he was talking about was that Hume said causality cannot be established a priori in the outside world. Then Immanuel Kant says, yes, this is a real problem. How can we have justice? How can we have reasoning? How can we have an order if these things are not observed objectively out there? So he said, causality, for example, is not out there, but it's necessary. It's a categorical thing, concept in our mind necessary for us to make sense of our life experiences. Justice, as well, is not observed there in the Hobbesian jungle, but we must actively create it through civil institutions and our designs about those institutions to bring this ideal into the material, into the outside world. That's just one example of what we study using a lot of computers to trace the source of ideas by looking through a lot of historical documents. There's also a digital humanities hackathon every year in May, so it just passed. It's a summer school over 10 days to simulate some kind of digital humanities research project in groups, mostly for master's or doctoral students. So tell your students, they can look this up, Digital Humanities Hackathon Helsinki. This year, for example, we had oral history over Holocaust and other interesting themes. There were 4 of them. So I hope it's on time, but thank you very much. Tell your students.
Thank you so much. And with this, we finished the first day, but not really, because there will be the concert. So everybody who registered for the concert is very welcome. And we see each other tomorrow with some of you. Those who registered for the European Remembrance Symposium, we will be at the University of Helsinki at Portania building, and those who registered for the international conference, it will be still here. So please check the program and check the addresses, check the venues. Thank you so much. Goodbye and have a good afternoon.